Welcome to Pop Culture Roulette for all your pop culture needs. We're America's podcast. Welcome everybody. Okay, so we're gonna try to get the energy going here. It's a little rough right now. We do let's try to get it. Let's try to get excited. Let's talk about something good. 31 for 31, mission accomplished.
Yeah, we
We
did
did it.
it
We did it. I mean,
somehow.
It was mostly Jeremy, but you know, but
Oh,
congratulations.
we
Third
all
time,
can bask. Hell yeah.
third time's a charm. Sometimes for a trilogy, the trilogies just need to end at trilogies, but like every horror franchise, it won't stay dead for long.
Oh
So,
no.
Yeah, as
It's
long as
dead.
as long as we don't go to space.
hey,
Shoot
that's
it
when
in the head with a revolver. Do whatever you need to do.
so but yeah, no, I thought we did a pretty good job. I thought we did a lot of fun content. I thought we had a lot of good episodes of various different things, learned a lot of stuff, grew together as a group, rescued some friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I was like, you know what? Let's not let the spooky times go just yet. Let's talk about what could potentially be spooky anyway.
Ooh,
So today we are going to dive into the dark, mysterious, and sometimes
creepy.
um here we go. Bizarre world of masked bands. We're going to talk about the bands and artists that make that. God
Who
damn it!
wrote this?
Yeah, what is this?
Don't worry about who wrote this, but I need to freaking write better. We're going to talk
Masks,
about the bad.
masks and face paint.
The Masked Singer
That
is what we're talking
we're
about.
not talking about the Mass Singer. That show
Oh
never got
fuck.
written down.
I thought we were
Um,
doing the Masked Singer.
uh, Talk about the mask and artists that take on a whole new persona with the help of a mask, whether it's to build mystery, create artistic stage presence, or just scare the hell out of us. So
Wow.
grab your backstage passes as we explore the most iconic and infamous masked bands in music history.
That's
Well,
disgusting.
Does that also count face paint? Because that's what you said.
yes, it does. I
All
mean,
right, because otherwise I'd have to
I mean, yeah.
rewrite some things.
No, it counts. We'll look into why they hide their faces and the
Ooh.
lasting impact on music history.
Hmm. Let's do
I
it, humans.
All right. Okay, so the first masked band that I could find any reference to was somebody called the Residents
Oh yeah.
that started back in 1969. I don't I don't think they're the first ones, but it's really the earliest that I could find any reference to beyond just somebody like throwing on a little face paint or like wearing like a Halloween costume, but like for actual like completely disguising, um, because they're the ones that have the iconic like eyeball masks, like they got like the white suits and the eyeball heads.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, they used their costumes to because they wanted to focus on the music, not
Uh,
their image. Since 1969, they've put out over 40 albums.
That's
good
a lot.
grief.
The best I can figure is that lineup has never been the same. Like it just constantly revolves and changes. I don't know who actually is in charge of it. They seem to be pretty insistent on keeping their identities secret. I was playing around on YouTube and watching some of their stuff. Some of it's pretty good. Some of it is downright awful. Jeremy, you seem to know about the residents.
Mostly just from Chris.
Okay.
He introduced me to them, but yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I've just like dabbled in it. Some of it's interesting, some of it's like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I mean, they had one where like one of the videos I was watching where they're like Les Claypool came out and sang, and but he was wearing the mask. But I was like, you couldn't hide that voice. It was clearly Les Claypool. But I mean, there was a couple of the songs that were like really good, and then there was some that I was like, I can't watch this whole video. Like this is awful. I did not do my list in order by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to jump around. We're going to, it was just kind of like as I was finding it or as I was thinking about it. Um, we're going to go to Slipknot next. They started in 95. They had the ridiculous statement of, and this is what they said, not the chat GPT that I was using for other stuff. Um, Man, I need better lighting and better handwriting. I need to stop writing so small. I don't know why I do that to myself. It's not like I'm going to run out of paper. Okay. It's our
Trees are
way of.
dying.
Okay, so Slipknot, this is the statement from I think Corey Taylor, but I'm not sure it because he wasn't actually the original member of the band. He is like the front of it now, but he was like the first guy brought in after they kicked one of the original members out. It's our way of becoming more intimate with the music. It's a way for us to become unconscious of who we are and what we do outside of music. It's a way for us to kind of crawl inside of it and be able to use it.
Ooh.
Um, that sounds like some bullshit to me. Like I I couldn't there no band seems to have a consistent like we wear masks because of well, there's one that has a real reason to use it, and we'll get to them in a minute. I can't like other than just like to have a gimmick. I think most of these bands, and then they just sort of like we need to keep it about the music instead of about who we are.
Yeah.
Um, Slipknot, much like the Residents, seems to change their masks over time. Like they've not they.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
evolve. They evolve.
yeah, let's say you, Justin, you're probably more of a Slipknot fan than I am, so you can probably go into a little bit more.
But yeah, they evolve over time, with when they kind of change their music style because each band kind of, they try to stay current. So they always are evolving their masks with whatever kind of feeling or emotion they're trying to put out with their next albums.
Is it a way to basically be able to change members without people knowing about it?
I mean, it probably helps, but a lot of times when they change members, they retire that character.
Yeah, because they don't like Corey Taylor doesn't go by Corey Taylor when he's in Slipknot, right?
Right. He's got something else.
Like he calls himself something else. Um,
It's,
and I mean, and again, it wasn't. I didn't. It's not just masked bands. I mean, I use mask kind of as a generic term because we also have the Insane Clown Posse,
uh,
which is
yeah.
a band that I've never understood. They do it to sell the idea of the demented clown or the dark carnival.
whoop,
Um,
whoop.
uh,
Yeah.
I think it's to just do terrible music
And to throw feces at people.
And to
and
dance in the Fago rain.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm risking the ire of juggalos everywhere, but
And
Yeah, you
the
better watch out.
Juggalettes.
oh, and the juggalettes, but I I've never understood the appeal of ICP. I know I've got a couple of family members that are deeply involved in them and will go see them every time they come to town and put on the face paint and I I
Yeah.
can't. I've tried and I'm like, yeah, okay. They
Magnets. How do they work?
it's okay. Is there a reference there to juggalos that I'm
It's,
unaware of or
it's one of their lyrics.
is it?
Yeah, right, Justin?
I think so. There's so many.
It's like it was like this meme for a while back a few years ago when this video came out. And I don't remember the song, but it's like one of the lyrics is like magnets. How do they work? They're amazing.
I mean, other than crappy music, I have enjoyed the couple times they were on like Tosh Point oh, like
Hmm.
when Tosh would have one of the juggalos on there, like the Whoop Whoop kid that you
Yeah.
referenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get them. I really don't. They are not. for me. That's not my style.
They have really given a lot to pop culture.
They have, I will say that.
Yeah.
I've never watched any other movies though. Have either of you bothered to watch an ICP movie?
No,
No, I used to watch their backyard wrestling.
They they had backyard wrestling.
Yeah, the Juggalo Championship Wrestling or something like that it was called.
Was it? I mean, it had to be like remarkably bad wrestling,
It
right?
was.
Like,
They've appeared in WCW back in the day, I think with Vampiro. There was a whole thing. They did the theme song for the Oddities when it was WWF. So they wrestled in there a little bit. They've released tapes of them just doing commentary over wrestling matches.
all right.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
I didn't do a lot of research on ICP.
I think that's when they had like Kurgan was in WWE. He walked around with a big Cartman doll.
There was
ICP and wrestling is like the best
Yes.
combo. I can't
yeah,
think of anything that
right.
goes together better.
No, I really can. I mean, I can't say that it would have made me any more into ICP or not against them, but like back when I was in college, so it would have been 96 to 2000, 2001. I used to, I watched a lot of the wrestling, so it would have been the Attitude Era.
Yeah, that
Um,
was around the same time ICP showed up in there.
oh, okay. So maybe I was aware. I mean, I've been aware of them for a very long time. I think I wrote down here or no, 89. Apparently they've been around since 89.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they've
Cool.
they've been around a lot longer than I would have thought, but I guess they've got I mean, they've got their own conventions.
Yeah.
They're the
I mean,
Gathering of the Juggalos.
I mean, a lot of the big time, like this might be one that we get to, years from now, but like bands that have their own like groupie names, like Juggalo, Juggalettes,
Hmm.
Swifties, Deadheads,
Yeah.
you know. You can't just like be a nobody band and have like a group name following. Like you obviously have to get to a certain status of,
Like Taylor Swift and ICP.
yeah, it's a match made in hell.
Fight to the death.
See, and this is where you are gonna say that like I'm a Swifty, but like if I would root for Taylor Swift in a death match between those two.
I would root for the Juggalos.
I mean, I would hope that somehow it was be incapacitating so that neither of them could continue, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. Then we go to Dead Mouse. That is how
Yeah.
you pronounce his name, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the S is sometimes a five.
Yes, it's
Um,
still Dead Mouse.
okay, Dead Mouse. He started in '98. He does his as a visibility thing to step out and kind of like stand out amongst the people. Like so, because DJs are behind the computer and not really doing anything. So
Yeah.
he's got the mask.
Look at me.
Yeah, look at me, like kind of set himself apart. And then later
Yeah.
on, we'll get
Dude's
to
out there peacocking.
yeah. And then I'm guessing that's where Marshmallow probably got, was like, I'm gonna steal his act.
Yeah, I just cut the ears off.
I'm gonna call myself a marshmallow. Um, then we go to probably one of the most iconic of all masked bands. There's maybe only one more band that's more iconic than Guar.
Yeah.
Um, they started in '84. Now, this actually, I kind of almost wanted to do just an episode on Guar once I started reading like their Wikipedia page and like how they got started. So originally they were a punk band called Death Piggy.
Hmm.
Um, and they were hanging around in a doing in somewhere I think in Richmond, Virginia, and they were involved with a production company that was trying to do a movie called The Slave Pit.
Wow.
No, the production studio was called The Slave Pit, and they were trying
Oh,
to do a movie
much
called
better.
Scumdogs of the Universe. Um, so like they had been hired or they were working with them. Like it's the movie
What's the
never.
premise of that, if you had to guess?
I
Or do you know the premise?
No, because it
Oh,
never got finished. The movie never
okay.
got made.
That's crazy. Scum dogs of the universe.
Yes, I can only begin to imagine with what Guar has gone on to do, like what the premise of that movie would have been. And this is going to be real fun trying to. So they started a joke band as like part of the whole making a movie called Guar.
What?
It's yeah, it's like GWARRRRGGHHAILGG. Like yeah, um, they decided eventually just to shorten it to Guar, probably
Mhm.
Good
to
move.
probably because they couldn't remember how many H's and G's were in there.
And
Or
eyes and
and the people were like, we can't put that on the marquee. What are you doing? Like, stop. But they
uh,
started as a joke band to do like as an opening band for Death Piggy, which seems like a lot of work, like to put on all these masks and costumes and like open for yourself. Like, but
yeah.
but they noticed that people were coming for the opening band, and then when like they left, like the audience like got cut in half. Like people were like, okay, we saw what we wanted to see. We're out, and like they wouldn't stick around for Death Piggy, even
Wow.
though because they were trying to do the whole joke of like oh this is a different band and this is but so I mean that's got to hurt a little bit, right? Because you're like this is the real band, and
Hmm.
most people are like we want the joke band. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
we
want
want the other group.
we want the other. So eventually they just gave up on Death Piggy and became Guar full time.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, like I had friends who were like, "Oh, you know that Guar wears masks and like tries to hide their identity because like they're like English professors at like Yale, right?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
I doubt it. I doubt it very seriously. But like when you didn't have the internet back in the early '90s, you're like, oh, it could be the case. Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe.
Maybe. But again, like I mean, in Guar, like I know a couple years ago, the guy who was the lead singer of Guar passed away.
Dave Brocky.
Yeah. So and he was what humongous or
Oda,
what was it?
What?
isn't it like Oedipus Rex or something?
I know there's like Odious Maximus, there's
That
Beefcake the Destroyer, there's a couple of them.
I don't know.
I've never been to a Guar show. I kind of want to go, but at the same time, like,
It's not the same anymore since he passed away.
but it's because it seems
It,
like more of like an experience than like a concert. Like it just
yeah, I had a buddy that would always go to them on Halloween and they would put out a big production and usually Dave Brocky, he would come out with like a 3 or 4 foot remote control penis attached to his costume that would just be spraying into the crowd and so
and that was one of the reasons why I never really wanted to go because like I didn't want to like get sprayed with whatever they were spraying, whether it be a fake penis or I saw the videos where like they would have the creatures that would come out and like swallow people.
oh yeah, the big mouth. There we
But
go. I said your thing about Guar, Nicholas. The mythos
oh
on
okay.
Guar.
Oh okay, yeah. I mean, probably a great thing to do on an audio podcast to sit here and read. Oh yeah, the story of Guar is carved across the whole they were part of an elite fighting force called Scum Dogs of the Universe. So I guess the Scum Dogs of the Universe were going to be the heroes of the movie that never got made. I'm
Oh.
surprised at no point, like as Guar continued and became bigger and went further on, they never went back and like just remade the movie themselves or like
Hmm.
They they've made other things like barbecue sauce and stuff.
well, I mean, and they've got like much like another band that we'll get to here in a little bit, they've got a lot of merchandise and toys, and I'm sure
They do.
McFarlane did a toy line for them as well.
Yeah, they have a barbecue sauce.
Um, yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
why I didn't write this other band down. I don't know if we want to skip to them right away or we want to keep going down my list here. I mean, because we
Ye-
can talk about Kiss, right? Let's talk about Kiss.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what did I write down about Kiss? They really popularized the whole idea. And I know some people are going to say, well, they're not really masked, but it's like, yeah, but if you take the face paint off of those guys, they can mostly walk around without people knowing who they are.
Yeah, most of them.
Hmm.
I mean, I mean, now, I mean, Gene Simmons has obviously been around for so long, wearing the makeup or not wearing the makeup, that people would recognize him. But there was there was a time early in the band's history where they would go out of their way to never be shown outside of wearing the makeup, so they could walk around without the makeup and people wouldn't necessarily know who they were. They started in 74. Um, they So that was around the time that glam metal was really a thing. Like it was not necessarily like the hair metal of the 80s, but the glam metal, where glam metal and hair metal are very close to each other, where the boys were all little pretty boys wearing the makeup and the teased hair. But they said that, most of these rockers would walk around wearing all of the rhinestones and the gemstones and the makeup and and they were like, we're all over 6 foot, we looked like linebackers, so we looked ridiculous. So we just took it the next further step and went full face paint and full makeup and full costume, and it just worked, and they went on to become one of the most iconic metal bands of all time.
Yeah.
And now you talk about a band that has understood licensing more than any other band out there. There is not a product on the planet that Kiss has turned down that I'm aware of. I'm surely there's been one thing that Gene Simmons
One
is
or
like,
one or two, yeah, he won't put his face
no.
on.
But I mean, you could get a coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they were the first band I've ever seen action figures from, but I know that they were one of the first. I can't remember
Yeah.
if McFarlane did it or
I didn't they also like do something in Scooby-Doo they've been in.
yeah, they've been in Scooby Doo.
They had their own comic with their blood in it. If I remember right.
They did a couple movies where, like, the live action movies, they've, like you said, Scooby Doo. I mean, there's very little that Gene Simmons will say no to.
Yeah.
I've never asked him to be on this episode on this, so I guess we could see what his limit of. Although my guess is that he would not say no, he would just say it costs this much.
Yeah, how much you
Yeah.
paying me?
Yeah, and until we get actual advertisers, I'm not paying anybody to be on this podcast.
Or win the lottery.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if I win the multi-million-dollar lottery and get a compound out in Montana, uh,
Yeah.
then I'll pay people to be on the podcast. But until then,
Yeah.
all right. Now we'll get to a band that wears masks for a reason, not just for like what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, I'm getting old. I'm starting to lose it. Uh, just like like a gimmick. That's the word I was looking for. Like it's not just a gimmick. Like they're wearing them for a reason. Pussy Riot.
Okay, what's the reason?
It is a political. They're a
Uh,
feminist punk band out of Russia, and they wear the pink ski mask for anonymity, as they put on they tend to put on mainly just guerrilla based shows, and they're
mhm.
very anti-establishment, anti-Putin. Um, and for the basically the things that they say and sing about during the show would get them arrested, and has actually gotten some of them arrested. So they wear a mask for their own protection.
Hmm,
Um,
interesting.
because otherwise that with Putin's deeply authoritarian reign, they could potentially be executed.
It's no good.
Yeah,
Hmm. Don't recommend that.
so
Zero
they're
out of
they're
10.
yeah, they're not necessarily wearing masks for like just to set themselves apart in the otherwise overly crowded new metal scene. They're just like, we have to protest against these terrible policies, and we don't want to die
For our own safety.
or go to jail, which in Russia could potentially be a death sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, then we get into the slightly more silly aspect, the Aquabats.
Hell yeah.
They were a punk ska band at first that used to wear their mask as satire, to make fun of the overly serious punk and ska at the time. But it became so popular it evolved into a stage show, which somehow turned into a kids show. that I am only vaguely aware of, but I feel like Jeremy knows more about.
I just love the Aquabats. I have for a long time. So I'm all about them. Not really, I don't really know a lot about the kids show. I'm aware of it. I know it exists, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a really big fan. I might have accidentally seen them once too at Warped Tour before I really knew about them. And I was just going from band to band, seeing random stuff. But yeah, I recommend that band a lot. They're great. Aquabats.
Hmm.
Fuck yeah.
I'm a big fan of that era of what is it, 94? Yeah, that era of the punk ska. Like it's a little more fun. Like, like I'm a fan of punk music to begin with. Like some of the ska got quite silly and stupid. And so taking the piss out of it makes sense. I don't know how you go from being a punk ska band to doing a kids show, but I mean, it worked for Weird Al. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
back into the staying in the no, well, I mean, that's silly. We'll go back into the stupid Daft
This
Punk.
I'd say this map's all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about Daft Punk. They started in '93. They wanted to control their images while maintaining their anonymity and to protect their personal lives. I think it was because they put out shitty music and they didn't want people to see them.
Fucking crazy. Move on.
So
Billions of records sold, calling it shitty.
I mean, there's an entire genre that sells billions of
I
records,
mean,
and
that's true. That's very true.
I
Some
mean,
record sales don't mean much, but whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and defend them. I know I'm right.
are you though?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they did that one terrible "Get Lucky" song.
Okay. You name the one mainstream song off of that album.
I can't. I don't. I'm not a fan of that genre to begin with,
Well, there you go. So
as you could probably tell by some of the things I said about Deadmau5. So, um, we've got the Blue Man Group, which was or I debated on whether or not to include them on this list because I don't know
I didn't include them on any list.
because I didn't. They're more of a stage show, but they do
Yeah.
music. Like it was. They kind of are a band. I mean, I remember when they got really popular, they put out an album, but I think they had already had a stage show at this point.
Yeah.
But then then the list starts to get a little less like written out specifically of like why certain people did things. We got Nash the Slash, who was a multi-instrumentalist who did a lot of solo stuff and a lot of bands. He did his to protest some sort of nuclear policy.
really?
West,
Yeah,
yeah,
I have no idea who that is.
yeah. West Borland,
From Limp Bizkit.
yeah.
Yep.
And then Buckethead. Buckethead. Are you guys aware of Buckethead?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so what did I write there? Good God, this is just stupid. And I'm not going to edit a lot of this out because I'm gonna
You're here to just make us look like fools,
no,
like
no,
I'd
you
I'm
like
gonna
you
make
yourself.
I'm gonna
edit
make
out my
myself.
part completely. My whole audio track, all of it.
Just cut it.
uh,
Pretend I wasn't even in this episode.
no, it's just too
Nah,
late.
you you
You're
you
part of it.
contributed.
Especially the
Okay.
part where I didn't know that guy's name and then we all paused to ask me. Cut that
Oh,
out
okay.
especially.
All right. So Buckethead was watching Halloween 4
Okay.
and eating KFC and went
As one does.
and went perfect. I'm gonna take the not the Jason mask, the Michael Myers mask, and the bucket of chicken, and boom. I've heard that he is like I don't know so much anymore, but at the beginning of his career, he suffered from such deep stage fright that he could not perform in front of people without the get up. And then he
Um,
just became so synonymous with it, like now he can't do it because people were like
Who
would know who he
who's
is.
who's this guy?
Who's that guy? Um, then there's MF Doom,
Fuck yeah.
the underground alt hip hopper, um, who somehow never got sued for wearing a Doctor Doom mask and performing
Yeah.
under the name. I'm guessing MF stood for motherfucker Doom, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm surprised he never got sued though. That is kind of crazy.
yeah, I
Well,
guess
he's dead now, so
yeah. Well,
it's too
Marvel
late.
was probably like, it's not worth it. It's.
Yeah.
Then we have Ghost, the Swedish heavy metal band. They've actually got some pretty good music. They're a little silly, but I think anytime you get deep into the closer to, I mean, not death metal is not because they're not quite hard enough for that. But like, I think anybody who gets really wrapped up in the costumes is, they put out some really good music, but obviously it's deeply silly at the same time.
Right.
Here come the mummies, a funk,
Hey, shout out to them.
a funk jam band. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah. They're pretty inappropriate.
Yes. Also inappropriate. Hollywood Undead.
Hmm.
Mm.
They 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 have some. They got a couple decent tracks, but mostly not so good. We already
Wow.
talked about
Wow.
Marshmallow.
I've seen that band more times than I would really like to admit and to just have gone.
So you don't like Hollywood Undead, but you've seen them?
I've pretended I've living a lie my entire life because I'm such a good friend. I've gone to see them with my friends. Cause I've even been like, yes, they're awesome. But I drank to get through it.
Oh, is this something that is this breaking news? Like, if your friends listen to this podcast,
Probably.
are they
Yeah,
going to be like, "What?"
they might be surprised. I mean, I don't know. There's some stuff I do like by them, but if I were to choose, there's no way I would choose to like go and see that on my own.
Yeah,
No way.
I've heard a couple songs of theirs that I'm like, this is not bad, but like it's kind of like Limp Bizkit. Like they've got a couple decent tracks, but mostly Limp Bizkit sucks.
Whoa.
Get now that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
How,
break stuff.
yeah. How dare you,
That's
sir?
that's the one good song they have.
Nookie?
That's
No.
that's one of the 10 probably good songs they have.
Oh, I'll let you
One of the
badmouth
15.
Hollywood and Dead, but Limp Bizkit gone too
Uh,
far.
it's just one of those
Um,
days.
Behind Blue Eyes is a really good song cover
no,
they
it's not.
did.
No, it's not. Within we already talked about Marshmallow and
This
then
is why I drink.
And then we got Mudvayne. They were inspired by movies and art and wanted to create a visual component to their live shows. In other words, they just wanted to kind of stand out. So they're like, look at us wearing crazy masks and face paint. And like they could have just been like, otherwise, we're making just really good music.
Hmm.
Um,
Never heard of I mean I've heard of them, but I don't know any.
I've got a
Really?
Yeah,
I've got a
Go on,
couple.
Nicholas. Shit on them.
I'm
do
not
it.
going to. I like Mud. I
It's
like
like a big
Mudvayne.
Yeah,
I,
that seems to be the theme of tonight's episode.
I,
shitting.
Nicholas shits on masked bands.
Well,
I,
I took a jump on Hollywood Undead too, but
I warned you that there would be some of that, and then there was somebody called. I guess he's more recent. He calls himself Orville Peck. He's a country music star, or star is probably using too broad of a word.
can we
A
all
con-
agree that country sucks?
yes, we can agree on that.
Yes.
Cool.
He's a country musician from South Africa, who wears a mask. His real name is Daniel Pittow, or I don't know how to. It's spelled Pittout,
A
so
towel.
that's how it's. But he's from South Africa, so I assume it's probably
Ow,
spelled.
spit on that thing.
Um, um, who and his other job is a drummer for a punk band called No Sensei.
No,
Ooh.
sensei.
So he's a drummer for a punk band, and then on his side project, he puts on a mask and pretends to be a country music person.
It sounds like one of my side projects, except I don't pretend to be a country music person. I
Yeah.
just put on a mask and do creepy and weird shit behind closed doors.
And
Uh,
sometimes on camera.
yeah, to say,
Yeah.
I was about to say I don't want to know about that, but I've been in the room when you've done it way too many times, so
Yes.
I do know about that. Check out the
Mm.
Media Pod Smash YouTube channel to find out all about it. Um, not a band, not a musician, but kind of somebody who seems to be at the forefront of the mask, the underground comic, or no, I'm sorry, the unknown comic. He was a guy who had done a lot of TV appearances and kind of had a stand-up career, but they wanted him to go on the Gong Show back when the Gong Show was like in the 70s, like the early, like the what's that, the Chuck Barris
Mm-hmm.
Gong Show, and he
Gong.
was like he was embarrassed, so he didn't want to go on. So he begged them to let him put a paper bag over his head, and he drew like a face on it and went on and just told some of the worst possible jokes that he could think of, like and that was like the whole gag. Like he was like the worst comic, but like he had like a whole side project of being a relatively successful other comic, but like his whole like side deal. He went on the Gong Show like 150 times or something like that. Like, yeah, it
Wow.
was, but that would have been
Did he ever
around the.
play a musical instrument?
He might have at some point picked up a ukulele or something. Um, Mushroom Head was another band that I guess them and Slipknot sometimes get into fights about stuff here and there. What did I miss, Justin?
I think you covered a lot of them. There's a lot of some of the lists I was looking at was showing a lot of different performers. They put Marilyn Manson on that list because he does wear a lot of makeup when he performs. They put Rob Zombie on that list.
Yeah, see, I didn't include those two or Alice Cooper because like they don't put enough face paint on
Right.
that I can't tell who they are.
Yeah, one of them I seen one of the lists also had David Bowie on. And I was like, besides that one time he had with that lightning bolt.
Yeah, and that's like also why I didn't include Sia because like I was fully aware of who Sia was and had multiple albums of Sia before she decided to put the ridiculous wig on to like cover her face. And it's like, but Sia, like you've got like 4 albums with your face on it. Like we've already
Yeah.
seen it. Like so and the Wikipedia page was, I mean, it wasn't super long, but it was long enough. I left a lot of them out because I had never heard of them or it just didn't seem interesting. Like there's a
Right.
lot of like Swedish and Danish, like that area of Europe, metal bands that do it. But I was like,
Mhm.
I can't pronounce your name, let alone have ever heard of you.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, I think you covered most of the ones I also had found and written down.
All right. So what would do either of you have a top three, like your
I,
favorite?
I wrote my top three
All
and then
right.
some honorable mentions as well.
Okay.
I mean, you would think for as hard as I suck Daft Punk's dick that they would be on my list, but they're not. But I guess I have a top three. I
All
can
right,
Yeah.
go for it.
who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Justin.
All right. Well, are we doing our normal? We go around the table here.
I mean, we can, or you can just tell your top three and then we'll do the honorable mentions.
All right. I'll just go through the top three. We could discuss them when I'm done. Questions, comments, concerns, all that fun stuff.
Concerns.
Yeah. No, number one on my list, I put Slipknot.
Okay.
Out of all of them, when we started talking about mask bands, that was the first one that popped into my head. I remember getting their debut album when it came out in '99, which was self-titled. And then when Iowa came out, I think a year later, I got that one. Number two on my list is Kiss, which was one of the last concerts I actually went and seen. I saw them on one of their many farewell
Farewell.
tours at the Pfizer. That was a couple years ago. I seen them. Didn't really like I knew who they were and I knew some of their hits. And then when I saw them, I started kind of going more through their albums and listening to some of the lesser known that I didn't know at the time. And they have a lot of really good stuff. And then the number three one I wrote was Moto Grader.
Okay.
They didn't do a lot.
Okay,
Did you-
but I'm just gonna go ahead and say we had this whole list, and I said, "Is there anybody else?"
I left it off because it's on my list.
And then we get to your top three, and you're like, "Here's a band we've never talked about."
That's because I can talk about them because they're on my list. They didn't really do too much. Their debut album was self-titled in 2003. They only released two studio albums, one in 2003 and the other one in 2017. Like I said, they didn't really do a whole lot for the music. That is where Ivan Moody, who is the lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch, got his start.
Okay.
So I knew who they were before Five Finger came out. So I was aware of Five Finger with Ivan Moody when I saw them as an opening band. So it's not more of they didn't do a lot for the music industry, but it's one of my top bands right now, and that's where he came from. And I've been aware of them since that. They just wore a lot of face makeup. And then my honorable mentions when you guys are done with your lists.
Well, one of them definitely has to be Kiss for me. I love Kiss, especially now since they started doing stuff on Patreon with Tell 'em Steve, Dave, and Vos. I've gotten a lot more into that band. They've started going down like through the whole discography, basically. So it's given me a reason to go back and listen to Kiss stuff. But there's another band that's really interesting I found out about called Bunny Rabbit, and it's called BNNYRBBT. And it's kind of like this like art kind of rock project sort of thing. Or they pretended that like they found these tapes on like VHS and like it was all creepy. But really, it's just this dude making music, and it's really interesting, unique music. And he goes by Bunny Rabbit. But yeah, they keep pretending like more music is like being found from these tapes, and it's like, but it's really just.
Hmm.
Okay, I mean, I can see why that would intrigue you. You're definitely into that kind of stuff.
But I mean,
I've
but the
never heard
music
of them
is really
before.
good too. It's just the, um, and I think third would be Aquabats probably.
I'm gonna have to have you spell that for me later. It sounds interesting. I would like
Okay,
to listen to more of that. All right, my top three are very generic. I didn't. I've got Mudvayne, Slipknot, and Ghost.
Do you listen to a lot of Slipknot?
I mean, I have a couple of their albums.
All right.
I mean, I don't listen to them often, but I do listen to them. I mean, they have a really good song called "People Are Shit" that I'm kind
People
of a
equal, not
people.
are
No, okay.
equal.
Well, either way, I'm not going to say that I disagree with it.
Right. All right.
All right, and then
Uh, what?
yeah, you got your honorable mentions. What do you got?
Uh, well, yeah, I wrote down ICP as an honorable mention. That is like one of the first CDs I ever got was Great Malenko. It was a, I think it was a birthday or Christmas present when I was way too young to be receiving that kind of a CD. I think I might have been whenever Great Malenko came out, 12, 13 years old.
But that is the perfect age to listen to stuff like that. That's you know,
That is very true. I put Guar down on my list. Another band. I have a bunch of their CDs. I've had them for quite a while. So, I mean, if I have them on CD, that should tell you about how long I've had them
yeah.
because the CDs aren't really a thing anymore. Marilyn Manson made my list. Hollywood Undead because they got a couple songs. Rob Zombie, even though, like we said, we don't know how much stock we put into that with them being recognizable. And then I wrote Limp Bizkit for West Borland. I know how you guys feel about Limp Bizkit.
I don't hate. I don't hate them.
Nicholas
That was
does.
my childhood, but they're not the great.
All right,
Yeah.
you had mentioned creating a Mount Rushmore of
Yeah, Jeremy, did you have honorable mentions?
No,
Okay.
on.
you had so you had wanted to create a Mount Rushmore of masked bands, and
Well, that's
I
that's kind of like our top three. I was just doing like anyone who wore a mask or face paint. So like on that one, I did put like David Bowie, even though he only did it the one time. Rob Zombie, because yeah, again, they only did it the one time. Michael Jackson, just for Thriller, and with the face mask costume. And those were the only ones I actually got to before I was like, where do I go from here?
see. So like for my Mount Rushmore, I put Kiss, Gwar, Dead Mouse, and Slipknot.
You're gonna need a lot of mountain. That's a whole lot of people to fit on a mountain.
Well, I mean, I think I'd have to come up with like a symbol for three of them.
Hmm.
Like, but like I did contemplate just putting Kiss up there, just the four, the four
There you go.
guys. Um, but I mean, obviously, when you think of mass bands, those are I mean, depending on the age, but I mean, most people are immediately going to think of Kiss. A lot of people are going to think of Gwar. You little younger or people closer to our age are going to think of Slipknot, and then Dead Mouse has the he's highly visible. I mean, he's got the logo, and I mean he's in what was that Goat Simulator game?
Yeah.
and he's on a lot of merchandise. Like he I would say he's more visible than even Daft Punk. I mean, clearly I think Daft Punk has probably got a bigger following, but when it comes to like recognizability, I think people are going to be like, "Oh, it's that guy." I don't know how many people can name a Dead Mouse song.
Not me.
Ghosts and stuff.
Okay.
Goats.
Ghosts.
Oh,
That's one, right?
I have no idea. I really can't.
Let's check.
how much Guar have you listened to before, Nicholas? Are you
I
familiar with their music or just familiar with
I
them?
got one.
I'm familiar other than like watching music videos here or there. Like I can't say I've ever sat down and listened to one of their albums front to back. But I
You
mean
should.
I am aware of who they are and I am aware of their music and their style. A lot of the things around them, but like I've just never taken the time to give them a listen. I mean, I have no feelings about them one way or the other.
I think you should. You should listen to a couple of their albums and maybe Dave Brocky's two CDs, Songs for the Wrong, and I cannot remember the other one. I did it. Diarrhea of a Madman was the second album.
I mean, I can't honestly give you a good reason as to why I've never listened to them because they do seem like they would be right up my alley with the type of music that I
Yeah,
listen to anyway.
like We Kill Everything would be a good album to listen to. Scum Dogs of the Universe. Some of the songs are real inappropriate.
Which is
Like,
probably why I don't listen to them at work.
yeah,
So like there's quite a bit of stuff that I can't listen to that like I'm still a massive fan of Rage Against the Machine. But I can't really listen to them at work as much as I want to. That was what I'd like to call my Saturday band playlist. When I knew that I wasn't going to have very many customers when I had to work on a Saturday. But I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm going to probably listen to them even less now than I have been.
all right, Jeremy, what did you have?
For Mount Rushmore
No, for the song
song.
by Dead Mouse.
What do you? Oh, I was right.
Oh, it was one?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Ghosts and stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
But if you want I really do have a Mount Rushmore if you want it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. It would be Kanye wearing the bear head. It would be the masked magician who reveals all the magician's secrets. And then what else? I'd do Kiss, of course. They'd have to be up there, very iconic. And then I get one more slot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do Dead Mouse. It's a pretty good Mount Rushmore, I'd say.
Yeah.
One of those guys isn't even,
I
I
But
mean,
it's fine.
yeah.
when
So,
it comes to electronica, I will give you one little anecdote that has nothing to do with masked bands at all. But when I worked security, I was working. Was it? No, it wasn't Oz. No, it was Ozfest. It was, or was it? No, it was Lollapalooza. This wouldn't have been Ozfest. It would have been Lollapalooza. One of the last years that it toured. Um, it was Snoop Dogg, Korn, Tool, and then Orbital. Very strange lineup. I think James opened up in so it was the Marley Brothers first, then James, that like mid 90s, like not grunge, like shoegazing, like Australian band. Um, then Snoop Dogg, which was, that's kind of weird. Followed by Korn, which
Hmm.
those two bands together kind of make sense. Followed by Tool, which makes no like Snoop Dogg and Tool being even in the same building makes no sense. I guess Korn and Tool, maybe, but not really. When it got to Orbital, who was the last band of the day, 80% of the crowd left. Like most people were just like, gotta beat traffic. All right, gone.
Time to go.
Time to go.
Got work in the morning.
gotta be up. Look at the time. That's kind of how I feel about electronica in general. I had to stay because I was on the clock, but had I been there, I would have left too. Like,
oh, I left
Yeah.
too.
I mean, or
I think it's funny that we both saw Snoop Dogg with corn.
yeah, it's well. Yeah, I mean, I saw that summer or that couple summers that I worked security at the Nissan Pavilion outside of DC. I saw a lot of really good shows, and then I also had to see Britney Spears and Spice Girls.
I'd say depending on the era, it might not have been too bad.
It's still Britney Spears. It's just
Crazy shithead era.
no, it was definitely before that. All right, so any final wrapped up thoughts on masked bands?
No,
Okay, all right,
don't make up some excuse. Just wear them because you think they're cool.
yeah.
Don't be like,
Just
oh, it's for
yeah, just admit that it's a gimmick and it's to help you
yeah.
sell records. Although I do wonder, honestly, like when it comes to like Gwar or Slipknot or like how much it's like we want to be able to like replace a member of the band without you noticing.
Yeah.
It's pretty noticeable when they replaced Dave Brockie.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the lead singer is probably a little bit harder to replace than like a bassist, but
Yeah, or Slipknot, one of the guys who just beats on trash cans.
yeah.
It's not the
So,
same without guy.
Yeah,
right, you just like, oh, this guy can't make it for the day, so we'll slap this other guy in the same costume and yeah,
he can be damn the trash can man.
yeah. So, all right, anybody watch anything this week that didn't involve the Packers?
If I
No,
did, I don't remember it.
blacked out.
I watched on Netflix the movie Don't Move.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It just went up this week. So this girl, she goes out to the mountains and she's contemplating suicide. And
As one does in the mountains.
a guy shows up and like kind of talks her out of it. And then as they're going back to the cars, he kind of attacks her, but like gives her a paralyzing agent that's gonna like completely turn her catatonic after 20 minutes. And then like she's kind of on the run and like just it's like ends up he's a serial killer and like that's his way of doing it. And of course, I mean, it could have been better. It could have been worse. It was intriguing, but at the same time, like there's so many decisions that the serial killer made in the movie where you're like, well, you're just a terrible serial killer. Like you are not good at your job at all. Like,
What is it you'd say you do here?
yeah. But what else? I watched a lot of Beat Bobby Flay and finished up a lot of the Halloween stuff.
I did finish the whatever it is, baking championship.
Yeah. Oh, I finished Agatha All Along.
Didn't even start it.
Uh, I enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty good. Wasn't as good as some of the other shows they've done recently, but it wasn't bad.
Hmm.
I mean, it was better than the Eternals, but I mean, it's really hard not to be.
Hmm.
All right.
All right. I
That's
keep
Any
it.
forgetting I have Disney Plus. I should just cancel it.
does that jog anybody's memory? Anybody?
Oh, I don't
No.
watch shit, man. I've I've been playing trading card game Shop Simulator.
TCG simulator.
Yeah.
I want to
Wait,
get that, but I got nothing I could play it on.
what simulator?
TCG. You open a card shop and sell like Pokemon Magic, stuff
The
like that.
And
fuck
you
you?
open the packs while you're
Yeah,
waiting for customers.
and then you could sell them by the card.
It's awesome.
What the that? I thought that power washing simulator would be the worst
Oh,
simulator that I.
Whoa.
yeah, that's a good one.
I'm about to
Supermarket
throw
sim,
down now even harder for this than I.
even like supermarket simulator is pretty fun.
I what the hell?
Well,
What?
I mean, I can tell you what I watched during that, actually. I marathoned Kenny versus Spenny again because I paid for Kenny Hotz's Patreon. So I watched all the old episodes of Kenny versus Spenny while I was playing Trading Card Game Simulator.
TCG simulator.
Yes.
I do remember you talking
That
about Kenny
I
versus
have
Spenny.
that app with all my cards on it.
Kenny versus Spenny is a gem. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's pretty funny. It's a really funny reality show.
Is it available anywhere, or do you have to join the Patreon to get it?
There's some stuff on YouTube. There's episodes up there. I don't
Because
know if it's all on there, but
I do remember you promoting this show before. I think I must have watched it because I don't necessarily remember it, but I remember you talking about it.
It's pretty interesting. I always wonder how much of it's actually like scripted. I mean, they claim they didn't script anything, but like there's some stuff I'm like, how? There's no way that you guys were doing this. But I don't know. I think they're really funny. They got really interesting chemistry together.
Hmm.
Well, according to this, it might be on the Roku channel.
Oh,
I don't know if all 6 seasons are on the Roku channel, but it appears that it is. Yeah. Okay. The trading card. Okay. I
TCG simulator. Look, looks so much fun. You could do a whole episode on different simulator games.
you could.
yeah, we probably, but see, I know my brother-in-law is really into the farming simulator one. Like he gets really into that, and Jess likes The Sims, which I guess is technically like the original one.
Hmm.
Although Sims
And Roller
Sim
Coaster
City
Tycoon.
Sim City might be first, but then because we have whatever Sims 3, Sims 4, whatever they're up to, that she
Yeah.
plays a lot.
Sims
But
4, EA
yeah,
money suck. Bullshit.
but
Expansion
Care
add-on, slap a consumer in the face.
Careful,
well,
you're gonna get kidnapped.
I will say
Oh!
I will say the one thing that Sims 4, I mean Sims 4 has been out for a long time now.
Yeah, they
So
keep milking that shit.
but so at
Oh.
least it's not like the Madden where they put out a new where you got to buy the whole game every year and still spend,
No, you just have to buy like 6,000 fucking DLCs that are all $40 each. It's no big deal. Just do
uh
it. It's just a few extra costumes and some furniture. Just do it.
yeah, well, I mean, I will say I wish that Madden was more like Sims 4.
I do wish that too. As bad as I hate beating a dead franchise,
Now,
but
granted, when Sims 5 comes out, that does mean all the money that we've spent is gone. But
yeah,
I've never I don't know. I played Pressure Washer Simulator for like 20 minutes one day, and I'm like, why? I work on pressure washers during the day. Like not all the time, but like I work on real pressure washers. I can take them apart and put them back together. Why would
All
I
right.
want to just play with one on a video game when I get home?
well, I don't, and I find it satisfying to destroy dirt.
Yeah. It's mind numbing. It's a good time waster, but it's still oddly satisfying.
I don't know. I guess I mean
If
I don't
I would do that for a living. Sign me up.
I can
Yeah,
make
you're
that.
telling me I could do that? I could pressure wash all day.
I mean, I can't necessarily guarantee you the pressure washing thing, but I can get you I can get you hooked up.
I just want to do pressure washing only, though.
Oh, okay. Well, then I
Yeah.
I can't necessarily
Yeah. And
guarantee that.
and then you're gonna buy like the different nozzles and the different soaps and yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, you get to go into a lot of details in that game.
I I don't okay. I
Then
mean,
there's add-ons for like Bikini Bottom and isn't there a Scooby-Doo one? I know there's a SpongeBob one.
I don't understand any of the simulator games. I don't
What about
I
Goat Simulator? You're just gonna be a goat or Deer
okay.
Simulator.
Well, Goat Simulator is hilarious because you get to be a goat that goes around destroying things.
What's the other one? Lawnmower Simulator? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
You
That's
Uh,
gotta
another
just
one.
you just get to mow lawns.
yeah. You want to
American
mow
Truck Simulator.
You want to mow a lawn, you come over to my house and I'll let you mow my lawn.
I have my own lawn.
You got to give me upgrades if I do a good enough job.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
I need the same kind of rewards in real life that I get in
Yeah,
video
he needs his
games.
trophies and achievements.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well then,
Like if my job paid me in like blind box card packs sometimes, it might make things a little more fun. Not saying I'm against money, but
I I'm not sure. I mean, let's hopefully your boss doesn't listen to this because then he'll be like,
this is in addition to.
oh, okay, all right. I
Yeah,
was
this
gonna
is on
say
top of. This is a
because he'll
bonus.
be like, cancel his paycheck. Just go start
Just
buying blind bags and stuff.
Yeah,
Just
no.
blind bags and Pokemon cards. That's
Don't get me started on that guy.
Oh,
anyway, before we go down a path that we don't want to go down anymore, um, anybody you want to promote anything or
uh,
okay. So just remember, if you're Tom Brady and you
I didn't hate him as a
Won a
commentator.
ton of Super Bowls, have
you might have
fucked
been
many great hot women.
good on the football
Have
field, but good Lord, do you suck in the announcing booth? Just remember, stupid never walks alone. All right.
Comic books have been around for almost a century, and in the last 2 decades, we've finally gotten to see many of these characters brought to life in movies and on TV. On the Moving Panels podcast, we discuss movies and TV shows based on, inspired by, and adapted from the world of comic books. Join me and my guests as we discuss both the good and the bad from Marvel, DC, and even some of the lesser-known comic book companies. Learn what is and isn't from the comics, as well as our nerdy review of the movie or show. New episodes drop every Monday, and you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. So join us for Moving Panels, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to an 80s Flick Flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.